Hello everybody, this is me back at the Mercedes again. So what I'm going to do this time is a running compression test using my homemade gadget there. So let me see if I can get right in that. There you can see it sticking out there, and I've got the wires connected to the battery. But just a couple of things about this car before we start. I think you can see it there. These have got two coils. They've got two spark plugs per cylinder. So you can see that's a double-ended coil there. I think you can see that. Yeah, let's see. Oh, this is so hard. Yeah, you can see that. You can see there's two wires coming out that the coil pack there. So 12 spark plugs, because this is a V6. So the other things I was wanting to show you was, I'll take you around to it. I forgot to bring my picoscope today, which is a real pest. I've had to do it with the Veris. But there's the ECU in the corner there. I could pin that out for crank cam. It's easier to get that than go to the flywheel for the camshaft. And then I think that's your relays are in this box as well. This your computer, your PCM and your relays. What else was I going to show you in this car? That's the air mass meter. And what else? Go down at the front. That's a map sensor right there. I'm sure it is. This one here. That's your fuel pressure takeoff port, and down the bottom here is your cam sensor. That's the cam sensor there. So I'll go and do this running compression test on the good side. Actually, when you look, I should have showed you that, but when you took out the plug from the good side, this is nice and dry. That was good. The other side, bank 1, that's cylinders 1, 2 and 3. The plugs are wet on that side, and the waveforms look funny. But on the good side, which is bank 2 there, that plug came from there, and that looks good, fine and dry. So I definitely think it's a timing issue. So that's me set up in the Veris. I'll record this and let you see if maybe I can go in a wee bit here. So you can see there, with nothing on it, with no pressure, it's showing half a volt, so that's atmospheric. So I'll just take this out and let you hear what I do. That'll be the easiest way. And I'll capture the waveform and show you in the edit. So the other thing you've got to make sure here is, you've got to disconnect the coil pack. And that's what I've done there. Coil pack disconnected. Even though there is fuel still going into the cylinder, it's hard to get these injectors off, but they're not going very long. And that's it. They go in at a funny angle here into the spark plug, but I've got that in, so I'll let you see it. So we'll stop the Veris, we'll start recording there. We'll see what it looks like. It's got to be quick because we've got short time. This is me taking you to a desktop recording of what I'm just doing there in the video. So this is the good side. So this is bank 2. So this is cylinders 4, 5 and 6. And I'll just play that. And obviously you've seen the video clip, but I didn't go in near enough to the screen. So I'll just let this play through. So this is the car. So let me see. This is the car ready to start. We'll crank over and start. There you go. And look at the waveforms. Then when it gets revved up, you see the peaks going higher. So you can see that looks normal. That's quite a clean looking trace. So I'll just let that play again so we can just have a look, because this what caught me out. I had my mind focused on timing. So look at that waveform. That's idle. Then it gets revved up. So you see I've got good peaks here, and then that's me back to normal. So let's go to, so that's the good side. So let's now go to the bad side. Well, and I see the bad side, the one that's not performing right. So let me do that here. So I'll start the car here and watch the waveforms this time. So here we go. That's me revving up. And that's me back at idle. Started, revving up. And back at idle. So I think you've got the point here, what we're trying to prove. So let's just wait there. So you can see here, this one demonstrates it clearly. And we'll bounce between the two. So that's it's got its cursors there. So cursor, let's see, cursor 2. So that's at the top of that compression up there. So it's in line with that. So cursor 2, 1.787, right? And we'll put cursor 1 when it should be on the exhaust stroke. And cursor 1 is 0.73. Now bearing in mind, atmospheric should be about, what's it, half a volt I said. So what are we here? There you go, there's atmospheric there. And so let me backtrack. So with the in-cylinder pressure transducer, as far as I know, when this is the compression stroke, so that's TDC on the power stroke, and then it comes back down, and this is when it's the piston's getting pushed back down to the engine to create power, and that's it back down at the bottom of the stroke. Now the piston then travels back up to be on its exhaust stroke, but either with timing or a clear exhaust or whatever like that, there should be hardly any raise there at all. It should be nice and flat. It should be down about this level. Should be hardly any back pressure. So we can see that we've clearly got a problem here with this hump here. If we go to the other waveform, back to the good one, let's come along there. So let me see, we'll go to it peaks up. There we go. That's it. Let me see. I think we're about 1.7 there. There we go. That's not far off. 1.61. So we're revving it up, but you can see on the good bank there ain't nothing else here when we're going the exhaust stroke compared to the other one. There's no wee pocket here. So cut a long story short, I initially looked at that and I said, along with that crankshaft correlation code, I said to my friend, it's timing. It's definitely timing. So I'll show you the next bit of the video. We went in to check the timing, and boy, we're only doing the top bit, but that link seems to be dead on. You can see that's the right hand side, and I'll take it to the other side. Just managed to squeeze this off. You can see that was matching. That wasn't matching on the left. It's a bit of a mystery, this. Of course, we're not checking the rest of the engine timing down at the bottom, we're just trying to save a bit of time here. But the waveform certainly looks like it's out. So I've got my head scratching yet again. So at this point, rather than going any further with the timing, we just assumed because these copper links were in line with the mark, we just assumed that the rest was fine, because our problem was only on the one bank. It was on the right hand bank and the left hand was unaffected. So I really expected to see that copper chain to be jumped a tooth or two. So I was saying to my friend, what can that be? But I then thought about the waveform, and I know exactly what that is, because look at that waveform. They've got this back pressure in the exhaust. I said, that's a collapsed catalytic converter. So what we then done, we dropped the exhaust on the right hand bank at the manifold, and I'll show you this clip. So after me showing you that waveform, I was convinced it was a timing, and we checked the timing here, it was not, and this was what the problem was. It was the left hand, no, the right, no, what is this? This is the left hand, right hand catalytic converter. As you know, this is a V6, so it's got one there and the other cat's just there. So what we done, we went up there, I think it's hard to see this, we split it near the manifold, just took the nuts out, and just split it a wee bit, took it around, and what a difference. So that waveform showed no timing, it showed back pressure caused by this cat, and it goes all the way back. It's goes back there, and then it finally goes, the two junctions go into one. So we're going to see if we can just get this one pipe. You can see the split there. It comes all the way up here, and then that's your rear oxygen sensor, and at the front there, that's your front oxygen sensor. So that's the solution. Claps cat. Cheers. So when we took the exhaust off, this is what we found right up the back, near where the two exhausts goes into one, just before it. So every time you've been revving it, obviously that's been rolling back and blocking the exhaust fumes for getting out the exhaust. So I'll just show you the rest of the data PIDs here. So this is after the repair. We changed out the catalytic converter, and all is well. So I just thought I'd do a before and after shots, looking at the scan data. So you can see there that all the faults in it was 1, 3 and 2 the fire. So it's I got the firing order wrong. So it's 1, 5, 3, 6, 2, 4. So our concern was banks cylinders 1, 3 and 2. So you can see when I rev this car up, all my faults, there's no any misfires in any of these frames. So that's clear. Let me see this one. Air mass meter. Now what was I going to show you here? I still have this HFM SFI 1.38. I don't know if anybody knows what that means. They could chime in and it'd help everybody out. Oh, here's the one. Intake manifold pressure. I think if you remember in the original video, I said that's quite low. Well, even with the repaired car, there was just still about 14 inches of mercury, so it's still quite low. I know the bigger the engine, the lower the vacuum, but I think I could hear like an air bleed, air coming into the inlet manifold. So maybe because it's still a bit cold, it's bleeding the air through the air induction system or something like that to get the car up to temperature. So that was one thing I learned. So that was a bit of threw me off a bit of red herring. So then the next thing we checked out, the temperature of the coolant. So it's quite warm at this point. Engine RPM. So the lambda sensor. So you can see the values here. Let me see. When you rev it, let me see. It goes up to 1.07. Now, is that voltage or is that current? I'm not sure. So when I looked at that, I just jumped onto my little Autel scan tool, and just looked at generic OBD and hit what you call it, converts it into normal readings. So when I seen that my lambda sensors were going between 0.1 and 0.8, I thought that's perfect with no misfires. And the reason I done that, you don't want to be putting another catalytic converter in it to see the fueling being all wrong, because it'll melt down the cat yet again. So all is well, no misfires, and the fueling is spot on. Let's see this other PID here. There's that one there. Just the same again, quite low vacuum. This one here, camshaft right and left. Remember the original code came up with a crank camshaft fault? Well, these things are still saying off and no, although the codes never came back again. But that still didn't work. And actually, hopefully I've got it here. Let me see the next one. No, that's just the spark current again. There was one there that still said, when in the original video I showed you with the crank, it was the camshaft sensor input, it still said the signal was implausible. So that's what really flung me for a loop. Although in saying that, I had been working on a car, had a camshaft fault, and we were at it for a while, and it was the timing. But I don't know what I'd done with that. Maybe never saved that, but still said it was implausible. So hopefully that helps someone out there. I think what I learned for this is don't narrow your vision. You think, oh, it's definitely that when you see a fault code about camshaft. You've got to leave it open and think normally. Anyway, cheers. Here's the Mercedes fix now. Listen to this. Clear.